In 4.4, we're going to talk about the slope of the line and how it can help us to graph, as well as one of the equations for a type of a line to make things a little bit easier. So one of the first things is if the slope is positive, then the line is going to go up from left to right. If the slope is negative, the line is going to go down from left to right. This is very important because it can help you to see if you may have done your line even in the right direction. So questions, slope going positive, it's going up from left to right. If the slope is negative, it's going down from left to right. How about if the, let's say that we have x equals any number, say 3. If you remember, that's a vertical line when we don't have any y in the equation. So for a vertical line, there is no slope, so it's either undefined or does not exist. You'll probably have to type in does not exist. There may be some of the multiple choice where it says undefined or no slope. If we just have y equals, say, 4, y equals any number with no x at all, then it's a horizontal line, and the slope is 0. So there's no slope. It's a 0 slope if we just have y equals something. If there's a vertical or a horizontal line, if there's a vertical line, then it's going to be an undefined slope. And okay, so that being said, in order to find the slope, slope is always as m, and the equation for it is the change in y over the change in x. So it's the difference of when you find 2 points, you're going to do a difference because that's the change. So one way to write that also is y sub 1 minus y sub 2 divided by x sub 1 minus x sub 2. So if you remember, when we had a vertical line, it was just x equals something, and every x equaled the same thing. So we would have, let's say that we had the 2 points 0, 1 and 0, 3. If we were to put this into this equation, we would pick this one as y1, so 3 minus 1 over 0 minus 0. That would be 2 over 0, and anything over 0 is undefined. So if you see that the x's are equal to each other, even if they were both 3, it would be 3 minus 3, which is 0. Okay, so you're going to get some questions that say, find the slope on a line that goes through, say, -4, -2 and -4, 8. So this is basically the same thing. I'm going to pick this one as the first one. So I'm going to say 8 minus -2 over -4 minus -4. 8 minus -2 equals 10. -4 minus -4 is 0. So slope does not exist. However, let's say that we have something like 13 over 2, 25 over 7, and 19 over 2, 12 over 7. So these are our 2 points. So it doesn't matter which one you pick as the first one and the second one. I'll usually do whichever one in my head looks like it may be easier to subtract. I'm just going to pick this one as the first one. So I'm going to say that this is y1 and x1, x2, y2. So 25 over 7 minus 12 over 7 all over 13 over 2 minus 19 over 2. Now I'm going to do my subtractions. 25 minus 12 is 13 over 7 divided by 13 minus 19 is negative 6 over 2. Now, to divide these, we're going to do what we did before and flip the second one, turn it into multiplication. So we have 13 over 7 times negative 2 over 6. So now when I multiply these, 13 times 2 is negative 26 over 7 times 6 is 42. Now I do need to reduce, so I can divide both of these by 2, and I will get 13 over 21, and it's a negative. So negative 13 over 21 would be the slope here. Okay, so let's say that, so one of the things that we can do to make things a little bit easier is put things in what's called the slope-intercept form. And that is y equals mx plus b. And if you remember, m is the slope. So if you have a line here, and or you have an equation, and it's exactly like this, nothing in front of the y, and it's any number x plus b. Whatever number is there, and if there's a negative, include the negative. Whatever number is there, that's the slope. Don't include the x on there. B is the y-intercept. Because if we put a 0 in for x, that would be where it crosses, the line crosses the y-intercept, or the y-axis, because that's where x equals 0. So, when it's already in this form, you don't have to really do as much work. You know that this is the slope, and this is what's going to be your y-intercept. Now in this section, you no longer have to put as the y-intercept the ordered pair. You can just write whatever y equals usually. Okay, so let's say though that we have an equation and there's no x. If there's no x, how many x's do we have? That's right, 0. So slope equals 0. And we said that before, where y equals anything, that it's a horizontal line, and the slope is 0. Let's say, though, that we have no y. That means that there's nothing to say what the slope is, so slope is undefined. For there to be a slope, there has to be a y somewhere in the equation. It may not start as y equals mx plus b. You may have something like y minus 3x equals 4. If you have this and it's asking you what's the slope and what's the y-intercept, solve for y. So you're going to add the 3x, so y equals 3x plus 4. The slope here is 3, y-intercept is 4. But let's say that we have 2y minus 4x equals 8. We still need to solve for y. So I'm going to add the 4x. So 2y equals 4x plus 8. Now watch the way I do this. I'm going to divide everything by 2, but I'm going to divide everything separately. This isn't like normal algebra where you would just put everything over 2. This makes it easier in order to keep it in slope-intercept form. And it's especially true when you end up with some kind of a fraction. So here y equals 2x plus 4. Slope is 2. And intercept is 4. So let me show you one that has that. Say we have 3y equals 7x plus 9. Okay, so I'm going to divide everything by 3. And I'm going to have y equals. Now in this case, we don't want to just write 7x over 3 because it's kind of confusing. Keep the numbers separately. So 7 over 3x plus 3. Do it like that. It makes it so that it's clear what the slope is. Okay, so another kind of question that you may have is you're going up a road Now some of you, it's going to say going down a road. If it's down, your answer is going to be negative because you're going down. And it's a 10% grade. And it's asking you how far you're going up or down for how far you're going horizontally. So remember what percentage is. It's just that number over 100. So 10 over 100. This is going to be this is going to be your slope. The top number, remember, is your y. So that's how far you're going up and down. Your bottom number is your horizontal. That's your x. Now, however, on this one, you do have to simplify. So we can divide both of these by 10, and it becomes 1 over 10. So 1 over 10, that's going to be your slope. You're also going to be asked, though, to write, you're going to say going up 1 foot for every 10 feet horizontally. So whatever number you have on top, after you reduce, is going to be how far you're going up or down, and the bottom number is going to be how far you're going horizontally. You're going to have a few questions like this, and this is different than any of the other ones because you're going to have to graph all of the points on the line. So what it says here is a line has a slope of -2 and contains the point 3, -3. And it says plot the point on the graph. So the first thing we're going to do is go just to a point, and we have to go to 3, -3. So the first thing we're going to do is go over 3, and because it was -3, then we're going to go down 3. And we're going to plot that point. Now it says, use the slope to find the other 2 points, one immediately to the left and one immediately to the right. So remember, whenever we have a whole number, it's always over 1. So this is -2 over 1. And so what we have to do now is from this point, we're going to go -2, so down 2, and over to the right 1. That's going to be one of the points. The other, that's the one to the immediate right. The immediate left, we're going to do the opposite. So now we're going to go up 2 and over the other way 1. Okay, so now we have those 3 points. Next, we have to graph the line. So we're going to change to the graphing tool, and we just need to pick 2 of these points. I'll pick this one and this one. Notice I only used the 2 points, but it did go through my 3rd point. So we're good there. Now it says to write the ordered pairs for each of your points on the right. So right here is where we're going to write them. So the left one is this point, and it's at 4, -5. So remember, you do have to put the parentheses 4, -5, and the first one here to the left is right here, and it's at 2, -1. So with the parentheses 2, -1, and we're good to go. And we did get it all right. Got a 1 out of 1. And there's going to be quite a few of these. If it says undefined, you know it's going to go straight up and down. If it says the slope is 0, it's going to go horizontally straight across. If you have one that has slope 2 over 7, remember the 2 it's going up and down 2, and the other is 7. Now notice here also, I had a slope of a -2. Since the slope is -2, and see, the slope is going down from left to right. So you know that I got that, at least the direction right. That's one way to make sure that you put your points in the right spot. the one that's to the left and the one that's to the right. If you have them flipped, say you put this one here for the right and this one for the left, even though you did go 2 and 1 each one, once you graph the line, you'll see it's going in the wrong direction based on the sign of the slope. And that's why I stressed that. Make sure you understand, when it's a positive slope, it's going to go up from left to right. If it's a negative slope like this one is, it's going to go down from left to right. If it's an undefined, straight up and down. If its slope is 0, straight across.